Games like Psychonauts 2 showed how Double Fine excels at creating unique and innovative experiences, and Keeper is no exception. Looking ahead, next year marks 25 years of Xbox. It's a big milestone for the platform and franchises that you helped build and make popular. We couldn't have done this without everyone who's been with us on this journey. As we think about bringing a new generation of players to these iconic franchises, I'm excited to share that players will get to celebrate 25 years of Xbox with a new Fable, the next Forza, Gears of War E-Day, and the return of a classic that's been with us since the beginning.
Welcome to Between the Joysticks. Press start and then we're off. Nick and Jon, they've got the sauce. Breaking news and some hot takes. Even if there's some mistakes, Nick is captaining the ship, while Jon gives thoughts straight from the hip. But when their powers combine, we're all in for a hell of a time. Between the Joysticks, it's the best. Up to 6 things they will address. Tell all your friends and settle in. Between the Joysticks now begins.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 143 of the video game podcast Between the Joysticks. As always, I am your host, Nick, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jon.
Hi.
Jon, we are on the other side of E3, not E3. How you feeling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a week of a lot of exciting things, a lot of cool games to talk about, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel a little lackluster overall, and obviously we'll dig into why that is. But I don't know. It's just felt like there was some meat left on the bone, just some things that we were hoping to get and didn't quite.
That's interesting because Tim Geddes of Kind of Funny went on this rant about always these people wanting old E3 back. Are you one of the people that want old E3 back?
Oh, fuck yeah, of course, absolutely. I don't like the way that things are done now comparatively. Like I liked everything just being pop 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 pop, and it felt like
Well, I mean, you got to take the good with the bad, right? You got to take the public, them playing the games live and messing up, or them just talking. After every announcement, you're gonna have Herman Hulse come on stage and talk for a little bit, like they used to do all the time.
I don't know. I found that more endearing. It felt more cozy and more like of a ecosystem or community that you're a part of, as opposed to like, here's 47 games. Find the ones you like, and it's like, and quite honestly, part of the reason that I think these type of shows typically do fall a little flat for me is because they're so reliant upon CG trailers. So I'll take a guy fumbling around with a controller on stage all day long if I can see what the gameplay is.
Right. I do think that I wish there were not very many demos here of actual games being played, and I do miss kind of getting that slice. But I know games are always been notoriously hard to demo.
Don't you want to see Miyamoto on stage doing some Wii music?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to take the good with the bad. Though you should watch. Just like skip through it. The IO Interactive Showcase was E3 of old. It was really bad.
All right,
and really awkward.
Well, yeah, I mean, but let's be honest. IO, why do you have your own showcase?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you got Mind's Eye, man. That's the hot game that's out right now.
I wish I want to see those scores. For those who don't know, Mind's Eye is just this game coming out by the
Build a Rocket Boy.
Build a Rocket Boy, led by Leslie Benzies, who was formerly of Rockstar, and it has a very weird rollout that
no review codes.
No review codes. He's accusing people of having some campaign against the game to try and badmouth it and all sorts of nonsense. But I don't know. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm feeling good and just kind of let down in a lot of ways. But I think it's also it's a me problem. It's me I just turned 36 now. I'm so old now. So super old. And so yeah, life's changing, but there's still some pretty sweet things, some good surprises.
Right, and which we'll get into because, obviously, this episode is going to be all about these showcases, the good, the bad, the takeaways. But before we get into that, I did want to talk Switch 2 briefly because it's not even a week old now. It just came out. It's fresh. And John,
Yeah.
on launch day, you stared into the soul of a Nintendo Switch 2
The soul of my soul.
and said no. And I've been wanting to press you on that a little bit here. Is how did you resist? Because you're famously the guy that went into a GameStop and bought an Xbox Series X on a whim.
Sure.
But the hot console.
I mean, if I could have
Nintendo.
traded in some Costco diapers and my son for like, a little discount off of it, maybe.
Son.
Yeah, maybe, hey, I'll give you this boy for $400 off the Switch. What do you say? Maybe I would have bid, but no, it really wasn't even much of a. I didn't struggle with it at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I know I'm the guy that said like, I'm definitely getting a Switch too. So keep that in mind in the future. Don't trust what I say, I suppose. But no, it's just I think just through the month-long lead into this thing and the marinating more on the games that are available. I was able to see one of these in person through friend of the show Will. Granted, I guess that was after this, so it didn't really impact my choice of buying it. $500, while it's not going to break me, is still I have to explain that pretty ironclad to my wife on why did I do that. So I'd rather just, it's not going anywhere. It's going to get the next 3D Mario at some point. It's going to get the next Legend of Zelda at some point. This is not going to be a PS5 2 scenario where you can't get this thing for 2 years after launch. So yeah, I think I just kind of like, well, okay, well, we'll wait and see. And, if this Donkey Kong game does what Odyssey did to Mario or Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild did to Zelda, maybe there's more of a conversation for it. And I think it'll be there for me when I want it.
Right.
I just got through Doom. I got another huge Game of the Year contender that I'm just starting.
That's true too. So,
I need to not spread myself too thin, I suppose.
Right. Okay. All right. And you mentioned you both of us have now had the Switch 2 in our hands, so we can give some hands-on impressions here. I mean, you're the guy that owns the OG Switch, so you're definitely more familiar with the hardware.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Switch 2?
It's a Switch Pro.
Yeah.
It's a Switch Pro. It's
very iterative.
Yeah.
And obviously fancier and feels a lot better. I was actually really impressed.
That's the thing. I mean, the biggest thing immediately is just the heft that it has. It
Yeah.
feels, anybody who deals in electronics or is in, video games or even music or anything like that, headphones and stuff, you can tell when you pick up a piece of tech that's like, oh, that's good.
Right.
I like that. You knew I'd like that. And and so it's, I'm a big guy. I have big hands. The Switch has always felt a little tiny, especially with the Joy-Cons in my hand. So blowing up that screen a little bit, obviously, which made the Joy-Cons increase in size as well. Only a good thing for me. The way that the Joy-Cons snap into the console is very premium, feels very nice. I don't know, it's only 6 days after launch, so it remains to be seen if there's going to be issues with people with that little connector piece that seemed to be drew people's ire when they revealed it to like, oh, is that thing going to snap? Then what do I do? All seems really great. And so from a hardware standpoint, I think Nintendo did a fantastic job iterating on it and, just making it feel new but also familiar, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it does seem like, to your overall point here of not getting one, it just seems like the biggest feature of this thing is how it runs old Switch games, how it's running Tears of the Kingdom now and older Pokemon games and all the other old Switch hardware that had to really struggle on this hardware. Even I think you mentioned that about the Zelda game last year. The isometric Zelda game had performance issues, and now runs a lot
You talk about
better.
Echoes of Wisdom?
Yeah.
Man, that game came and went, didn't it? Yeah, and I mean, then the other obviously big part of it is just, we talk about the launch lineup and, Donkey Kong's coming, but Mario Kart World is all anybody's playing on that thing. Oh, except for, I guess, probably the 6 people that are playing the Welcome Tour. But, Mario Kart World, it's seemingly good if you like Mario Kart, but the open world doesn't seem to be doing too much to the game. Sitting at an 86 on OpenCritic right now, so I do not like Mario Kart, so that was an easy one to resist also. But
right.
Ooh, Dune Awakening's up to an 84. A little brief update. Wow.
Oh yeah, you're gonna play it now?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, if that's all we have to say about the Switch 2, we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, just anecdotally, again, friend of the show, Will, he's been kind of giving me some impressions. He says Cyberpunk runs very well on this thing. So, again, like for maybe those who could use a Switch 2 as a way to play older games they might have missed, or portably, or if you just dig kind of laying back outside on a hammock or something, it does seem like, all signs point to it being running all that stuff very well also. So, yeah, good job, Nintendo. 3.5 million, I think they sold in the first 4 days. I think that was confirmed today.
Fastest selling console
I think it will be it'll have a very fast trajectory, but I think I don't think it's catching Switch 1.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. I do think Nintendo needs a showcase coming here in the next few weeks, either in June or July, to really, like I said, as we talked about previously, kind of like now that the faithful, the hardcore are bought in, what does this fall look like with Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon and future titles even beyond that to get people really excited, the 3D Mario that's
the one.
John is aching.
I mean,
for
dude,
over
if they just have it Galaxy 3, it's over. It's over.
Okay.
It's immediate.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
which that'd be dope.
All right. Well, that's not the only hardware news on this show today. And I'm a little disappointed John didn't notice a difference in the way I've been carrying myself. Because I should be,
He's wearing a plain white t-shirt, just so everybody knows.
No, but I'm more powerful now. I don't know if you noticed. I'm more powerful because I upgraded my PlayStation to the Pro.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I've been holding it for this very show.
Okay. Wow, dude, you did you?
You didn't even notice. Like, what the fuck, dude?
How was I supposed to notice?
I've been obviously I'm carrying myself in a different way because I have a better console
there's
at home.
the aura.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
glowing. Yes.
Yeah.
So did you do it? Did you go to the GameStop and just say, "Here's my shit"? Take it.
No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
As listeners know, I opened my PlayStation 5 just to fix it because it was shut down all the time after overheating. So, I opened it, played around with the liquid metal. It works. This was back in 2023, so it works. It's just that it's been tampered with. Sure. And my fear of going to GameStop is them opening it and
he fears that they will put him to the shooting gallery and they'll execute him on site. How dare you?
No. I just bought it. I bought it straight up. Yep.
Done.
Yep.
Nice.
Bought it, got the disk drive, installed the disk drive. That was kind of neat. It's funny how skinny the thing is when it doesn't have a disk drive. It's so small and slick. These newer slim models that they have. And then, so I don't really have much to say on it beyond that because I haven't really played many games. I finished Oblivion and just been waiting for games, and then games just came flooding to me because I have good friends who give me games, like John, who gives me Doom, and I have Indie now. So I'll have some impressions of those games running on it, but I'm really looking forward to like Death Stranding and the Sony games to really showcase what this thing does.
Do you want to, I mean, I don't know if it's fresh enough in your head to even draw comparisons. Do you want me to give you Rebirth real quick? I mean, just because just to load it in and be like, can you tell? But also, because it'd be nice to get some comparisons, but like, what are the games you've played in the past 4 months? Like within the frame of
Astrobot, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, no, it was something that was always bugging me. And especially in regards to like Grand Theft Auto, and then we didn't really talk about on the show that Witcher 4 demo, and these games looking incredible. That I just wanted the platform that I prefer, that I enjoy so fucking much, so many hours in, to not have to make any compromises in games.
Yote is gonna be dope.
Yeah. So it was.
Well, good
it was
for
a
you,
new console
buddy.
day
good
for
for
me.
you, but when was the official? When did you have this baby boy? When did
it
you birth
came
him?
during the Xbox showcase. It was Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Which was funny because I bought it through Amazon, and they just slapped the label on the PS5 Pro box. So I had this voicemail from an Amazon.
Hate that.
Yeah. I had this voicemail from an Amazon driver being like, "Oh my God, I hope you're home because I don't want to leave this on your porch. You know,
I mean, that's nice at least. But yeah, you think porch pirates are bad. Like,
Right.
what the hell?
And again, I planned for that. Like, I wasn't going to order this and have it delivered on a day I wasn't home anyway. But yeah, I called them back and was like, yeah, it's okay.
Can't put it in a bag? Come on,
Right.
something?
So yeah, it's I'll expect more impressions, but so
Did
far
you
so good.
utilize the sweet PS5 Pro theme?
Yes, I did.
Good.
It's awesome. It's like a circuit board
Worth
with
the price of admission.
with a processor in the center, and it lights up. It's nice. But
Cool. Awesome.
I am all ready for
Everything.
everything. Yeah,
There's
the
nothing
next
you're not
couple
ready
of
for.
years. All right, so we should start. We should get into these showcases because I'm sure our listeners are interested in our opinions of them. But we want to hear from you as well, especially on some of these polls where we got very negative reactions.
I was going to call them out, Nick.
Please write in. That email address is betweenthejoysticks@gmail.com. Twitter DMs @joystickspod. Follow us there for updates on the show or comment on any of our YouTube videos. Let us know what you thought of these showcases and our thoughts on these. React to them. Let us know. All right. Let's start out. Last episode, John, we were minutes away from a state of play when we ended the show. And here we are, the state of play. It came and went. Our poll is at an 81D. 81% D.
Seems.
And this was the only showcase you saw from start to finish. You did not sit down and watch the other two that we'll be talking about.
Correct, yes.
So what is your big picture takeaway? We'll get into some of our highlights and lowlights of the showcase itself. But big picture, what did you think of Sony's pretty much E3 state of play?
Yeah. I want to hear from the audience because I'm not convinced that everybody in our audience are bots. Because I thought it was a very above average state of play, if not great state of play. I can understand how people could watch the show and and be like, well, there's not much for me. I get that. But I am getting tired of people going like, Bloodborne 2 wasn't there, therefore D. It's like, and there wasn't even a ridiculous amount of things for me. But
No.
when you talk about what closed
Not at all.
out the show, the update on how Silent Hill F is looking, the reemergence of Pragmata, these other, and even something like Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, if you're just open-minded and you know video games more than just, unless if you just play first-person shooters, it's just I don't understand how you can kind of look at the slate of games and the quality that those games are going to be, even what they opened the show with. Like, I understand people aren't going to maybe want to be attached to a puzzle game like Lumens, and I'm spoiling the whole show right now, but these are all, like, most of these games are going to be great titles, and it's just a little disheartening. I'm a little tired of everybody just being so, like, I'm a negative person.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yep.
But how can a negative person such as myself watch a showcase and be like, that was pretty fucking good, even if I'm not going to play? I don't want to play the last game that was shown. But I understand how monstrously big that announcement is. And so I thought it was great. I thought there was, it was incredibly Japanese focused, which I thought we were kind of commenting on that watching it.
Yeah.
Which was a little strange that, I don't know. I don't know if they typically say, like, we're going to focus on Japanese games or not.
Sometimes
but like,
they have in the past.
Yeah. But I think, going over the highlights and lowlights of the entire weekend, most of my highlights are from the state of play.
Okay.
So I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I think you asked me right after I slotted it in the B category.
Okay.
Is where I would go. But yeah, I mean, there's some stuff in there that I'm pretty pumped to play.
Yeah, I think across every showcase of all of this weekend, and even the ones we didn't talk about, we're not going to talk about, like future game showcase or Days of the Dev, is that there's just so many games right now. It's insanely hard to keep track of what's coming, and I think these showcases they feel a little muddied or diluted because there's just so much, so it's hard to find the gems amongst these 40 games. The showcase was 50 minutes of trailers back to back to back.
It's going back to your original question of this podcast, Nick. It's like, I think that's also a reason I like the E3 style. Like, it allows you to breathe, where you can process. You can be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you're not just like, okay, scrub that. What's the next one? Okay, scrub it. What's the next one? And yeah, so
And
it is a
it
lot.
seems to be the Sony method right now to have these showcases and then end on a big announcement, first party announcement. And I think that kind of weights the conference on that last announcement. So like on the previous state of play, Saros, me and John are probably like the biggest fanboys in the world of Housemarque and Returnal. So we get all excited, but someone who's not into that.
For sure.
And same here with Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. They end on that, and you're like, what the fuck? That's a crazy announcement. And then if you're like, I'm not into fighting games or 4-way tag match fighting games, it's like, this showcase is not for me, but
Still an S tier announcement. Like,
it is. Yeah, you have to recognize, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm with you. People should probably be writing and saying why, but I understand. I feel like...
I just like D, though. Like,
right.
D?
No.
Like,
not a world where
okay.
it's a D.
Yeah, come on. So I really, seriously, though, like, first off, we haven't had a new writer-inner in a while, and I love new writer-inners. So if you're out there and you voted or whatever, if you actually have something to say, we'd love to hear from you. I promise we'll be nice.
Oh, it'll always be nice.
I'll be nice. Nick, Nick did famously have somebody say that he was an idiot before. So
yeah. I'm an EA shill.
Yep.
But okay, let's get into it. John, where do you want to start? What was a highlight of the show? This was your favorite show.
Yep.
What is one of the reasons why?
I'm gonna. Where am I gonna? You know what? Let's just start with the last one, just because like it's gonna probably take up a lot of oxygen. Might as well get it out of the way.
But John, you famously said last week this is not a fighting game podcast.
I did. I did, and I don't think it will become one. But I think when you
the irony.
I know. When you are able to have a marriage between a company and an IP, and see the fruits of that pairing and what it could become. Obviously, I'm talking about Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. I think it is worth a big round of applause because one of the most famous fighting franchises of all time. We obviously got Street Fighter, obviously got Mortal Kombat, but Marvel vs. Capcom is one of the most cherished, I feel like, in the fighting community. Whenever you talk to people who are about fighting games or back in the day, they love those games. And while this isn't a direct lineage of that, or it's not a direct sequel to that, it is very much paying homage to that, right? The tag team fighting style. But what they did with this, it goes so above and beyond what I would kind of think, right? First off, partnering with Arc Systems Works. And those who don't know who Arc Systems Works are, really kind of just take a look at them, right? They made the Guilty Gear franchise like into what it is. And while it's not on that same tier as a Street Fighter, it's, I think, only that way because it's not the most accessible. It's kind of known as being one of the harder fighter games out there, really deep mechanics, things like that. But putting that team with the Marvel IP, where you already have this ridiculous cast of characters that people are going to know, then adding in the Japanese styling to all them, it was a beautiful thing to watch, right? Like when that trailer got started and everybody's speaking Japanese and you see the Captain America shield, you're just like, you don't really know what to make of it, but you start to see the animation work that's at play. Like the animations of these fighters, absolutely insane, right? Whether it's Star-Lord coming in and shooting his guns into some big fire tornado, or Storm flying around, the absolute chaos that happens. It's a top tier product that's going to light the fighting game world on fire, I'm sure. I would imagine they're probably having a pretty decent conversation in there too about trying to rectify that accessibility a little bit because, it is just much easier to jump into kind of something like a Street Fighter. And I wish I had more specifics on. I've played a Guilty Gear game before, but I'm not a fighting nerd, so I don't really know how to verbalize all that. But man, this was a clean looking trailer, and it's even getting me to consider, like, should I try to maybe this could be a fun way to get Levi into fighting games or something. Right. I don't know, but. Right. Top tier announcement, great way to end the show, I think that trailer in and of itself kind of elevates this state of play.
Sure, yeah. I mean, when we were talking about the 2D God of War last week, which is missing.
What the hell?
We mentioned this is one of the lines we said is that project sounds like something Sony doesn't do or PlayStation doesn't do, and I know it makes sense now because PlayStation owns Evo and we got the announcement of a fighting stick during this state of play as well, an officially branded PS5 fighting stick. This also seems like something Sony doesn't do and PlayStation doesn't do, but here we are. There will be a first-party fighting game.
Well, and you know, if we kind of think back a couple of years too, I mean, you know, Sony has been trying to get a little more involved in the fighting community, right? They purchased Evo, right? So, you know, maybe they're just continuing slowly working that in. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way. I mentioned this to you, but I would not be surprised if we see an Arc Systems Work purchase in the future. You know, at least old Sony, not so much recent Jim Ryan Sony, but old Sony loved to kind of form these partnerships with teams, see how you work together, see how the relationship is. Obviously, if it, you know, good fruits of your labor happen, then they kind of just want to come in. And this one's it's gonna blow up. So.
Yeah, I mean, expect this thing. This will be at every state of play going forward, just character announcements and all that stuff. So it'll keep returning for sure.
Well, Nick, you kind of got into Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
Come on, what are we talking?
This is so much more intimidating. Tag games, I have never gotten into a single one. So
me too.
I mean, this could be the one, but yeah, I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it, but yeah, it's hard to make sense of when you have it. When it was Marvel vs. Capcom and it was 3v3 and now it's 4v4.
There's that one moment in the trailer where they're like, oh, and it's 4v4, and then it's just absolute mayhem. You're like, why even show that? Like, you can't possibly read what's going on the screen, but oh man, so clean. Looks so good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was huge. That not on anyone's radar.
Nope.
And no, not even like a rumor or anything like that, which is great. All right. My first highlight and one of the games that I'm really excited to see more of is this Tides of Tomorrow from DigiArt, coming out February 24th, 2026.
Why are you laughing?
Because it's unfortunately in the same time span as Resident Evil 9, as we'll get into.
Sure.
But this is a first-person game, but has kind of the same thing. Asymmetrical multiplayer that we see in like a Death Stranding or a Souls game, where you go to these areas where another player has already been. You can see the choices they made, the things they did, and then the world also has reacted already to what they did. So I could go in there and follow John in there and be like, oh shit, John was a piece of shit at this point in the story and did all these terrible things. Well, I don't want to be like that, and so on and so forth. And I just think it's an interesting idea. How it works in execution, we'll see, but very colorful. Love the art style, and yeah, just another game that's out of nowhere.
Yeah, DigiArt?
Yeah, DigiArt. They did Road 96.
Sure.
Was their previous game.
Yeah, I mean, you this one I'm not as sold on personally. Anytime you rely on user-based narrative stuff, I get very apprehensive about that. I mean, you know, because you're effectively relying on, you know, you might be following a guy that's, you know, going to kind of lead you into this, or you might be following this thing that's just not the way you want to play. How do you even program this to make it like meet some sort of satisfying end? I thought the trailer looked cool. I thought the music specifically was what I thought was the dopest about it. But and I just worry, like, what are you doing in this game, right? When I look at trailers, I'm focused on gameplay, and there was, short of the gunning in the boat or like steering a jet ski, nothing happened besides just movement. Right, you're just kind of following a trail, right? Like there's a thing where you kind of go into like heist or like steal something out of a safe, and it's just like, oh, they were already here. It's like, okay, cool, now I run away, and so I want to see more. I want to see,
oh, for sure,
you know, what am I actually doing? Am I shooting people? Am I just stealthing around? Is it incredibly narrative focused, right? Where really you're just kind of the draw or the narrative beats that happen. But again, I don't know. I don't trust those if again there's this thing of choice. But I do agree it's a very unique idea. I think if it does work out well, if they do have the sauce and the magic, this will be a big deal. But you know, and every team eventually does have that thing where they figure it out, right? Like, I don't have a good example off the top of my head, but yeah, I'm gonna use FromSoft just 'cause, even though it's not a great example. Like Demon's Souls happened, right? And I was and people loved it, but then it wasn't until like Bloodborne and Elden Ring where they truly figured out the formula. So maybe like Road 96 was like, which people do like. I think it's like sitting at like a 79 on OpenCritic. You know, had some ideas, and then this is the one where they really blow the doors off. But yeah, that's a good pull.
Okay. All right. What do you got next?
All right. I'm going with. I'm just gonna go with the one that I'm probably most excited to play, which is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Yeah, that game. So pixel art game, coming from the Game Kitchen, which are the creators of Blasphemous. Your standard 2D pixel art action game, but if you've ever played a Ninja Gaiden game or anything like that in the old school, this is basically just, I think, that formula brought forward. But absolutely gorgeous, looks very fast, very flow statey, where you're kind of adding combos in and just kind of getting your teeth kicked in. But if you can do it well, it's going to be incredibly satisfying. I think listeners of the show know that that's my shit at this point, where it's like I want something that I am in complete control of, where if I die, it's my fuck up, the pixel perfect kind of shit. And it's coming soon, which I believe July 31st.
Correct.
So that game should be here pretty soon. But I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And it's been like 30 years since there's been like a 2D Ninja Gaiden game, so it's kind of cool to see the reemergence of that. Weirdly enough, the same time they're reemerging another part of another Ninja Gaiden property. But Datamu is great. Game Kitchen's great. Looks a lot of fun. I will be there day one.
Oh, day one. Wow.
Yep. Yeah. These are the kind of games I gravitate towards, my man.
All right. Good stuff. Yeah, it's weird. It's like the year of like ninja games. Well, in Ninja Gaiden 4, this, and the Return of Shinobi as well. It's
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is not a highlight for me, but it was a highlight for our listeners. Pal of the show, Nick and Jesse, wrote in about this game. Romeo is a Dead Man from Suda51 and Grasshopper Manufacturer. I should have pressed them more, like, why? Because Grasshopper Games, and I love them. I love Killer 7, which is 25 years old, or 20 years old. It came out, 20 years ago. Is celebrating its 20th anniversary. But they're also the makers of Shadow of the Damned, which I really liked, and No More Heroes. But their like recent output of games has been like middling at best.
Yeah.
It's all in the 70s. So, and this looks like, it looks weird, but it looks like it plays just like No More Heroes, which is not a fun game to play at all.
Really? Never played it. I've never played a Grasshopper game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Lollipop Chainsaw.
Nope.
Killer is Dead.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. They're just a B tier developer, like it's just they release games, but none of them are setting the world on fire.
Yeah, and Suda he's one of those insane personality developer guys, right?
Yeah.
Like all of his shit kind of has the same, over the top, ridiculous level of violent stuff, and I'm cool with all that. But they also sometimes I feel like, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, are they like glitchy or buggy, or am I thinking of sweary? I get those two confused.
They don't run very well either.
Sure. But this does, listen, this trailer was incredibly you pay attention to this trailer, like what is this, right? It starts off in a completely different art style, completely different thing going on. There's a level of humor to it that's very dark and very weird. I felt like in the very beginning when the dude shoved that thing in his eye socket, he felt very Rick from Rick and Morty. He was like, I got this thing, you're gonna live and you're gonna die and you're a dead man, and that's fine. But then when it came to the gameplay, it did look cool. I just think it's going to be like a kind of maybe like a Dead Rising kind of game, right? Where you're just probably lots and lots and lots and lots of enemies. You can find the play style you like, the way you want to do combat. But I think Suda / Grasshopper is also the reason that a lot of their games don't reach higher than like those upper 70s is just because they are, maybe this isn't the right word, but abrasive. Like it's an abrasive looking game, right? It's in your face, it's loud, it's fast, and I don't think that jives with everybody, but I can understand.
It's a fine line to pull off, I think.
Absolutely. But I can understand why there are certain people that love his stuff as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I this would very, very much be a wait for reviews kind of thing for me.
Sure. 100%.
But it was a eye-catching trailer. I will absolutely give it that.
All right. Fair enough. It was very bizarre.
Yes.
All right.
All right. I'm going to go with the re-emergent game Pragmata from Capcom. So this was a game that was first shown off at the PS5 reveal, I do believe.
Right.
Right. That originally was dated for 2022 or 2023, back when that felt like it was forever in the future.
Right.
Right. So here we are in 2025, kind of not knowing if it was dead, what was going to happen with it. And we got a brand new trailer where it kind of showed off, a lot of stuff we already knew, where you kind of are playing as this space man type character with a robotic little girl on your back that kind of has some Mega Man attributes, but also is very cute and cutesy. But I first and foremost, Capcom always at this point has earned my attention, right? If it's a brand new IP from Capcom, that does not happen very, very often. I believe, Exoprimal was the last one, which is arguably one of their worst IPs. But before that, I believe it was Dragon's Dogma. You don't get a lot of fresh IPs from them. And so for them to have a property in a game that they unveiled, obviously went back and figured something out because something wasn't working.
Right.
But then to re-emerge with it, that tells me that they have the level of confidence in it that they think it's going to make people really happy and not tarnish their current streak that they're on. And it's kind of nice. We actually got a little bit of insight into the game today. Some of the press played a 20-minute demo of it, and they said it was great. Said that they were very hungry to play more. It's got a little twist to the combat where these enemies that are coming at you are more like robot figures, where your guy can't damage them at all. But what the little girl can do is she can hack into them. So while these enemies are like kind of coming at you, you have this like little hacking mini game on the side that you're kind of trying to do, and it's like, the way that they described it was like just incredibly intense, incredibly chaotic, where as the enemies are coming near you, you're trying to do this thing, and usually they would crack it right before they get close to them, and then at that point all your bullets and shit start destroying the enemies. Right. And so a new take on a third person shooting formula, which is at this point something that I would need. I can't do speaking of mind's eye, like I just can't do the standard take cover, shoot guy, and move on to the next area type stuff anymore. And I think I think this one looks pretty cool. I'm excited for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to bring this one up because it was funny, because one of your predictions was involving this NVIDIA leak and involving Final Fantasy IX. Mm-hmm. And you're going to get some points here because you were close. You were close. Because another game with Final Fantasy in the title that was also in the NVIDIA leak was Final Fantasy Tactics. Yep. And that officially did get revealed here. And that is coming September 30th. But yeah,
it's in my highlights too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I am a sucker for legendary games. Chrono Trigger is a big one that I've never been able to really go through and play. But probably a lot due to the fact that I would listen to Colin Moriarty for a long time, and that's one of his favorite games. He always talks about how amazing this game is, and so I'm intrigued. I want to check it out. I famously really like Into the Breach, which is more of a grid-based tactical game that I never would have thought I would latch onto. The way that Colin Moriarty describes this game, specifically the job system, sounds incredibly intriguing, where there's a ridiculous amount of jobs and you can kind of combine them with each other. So you can be like a dragoon chemist, or you can be like a wizard lancer, and all this other nonsense. And it kind of has the ability to break the whole game wide open and just really wreak havoc on these enemies. But I'm absolutely interested in it. Seems like a good handheld kind of game.
Yeah,
nothing I want to play.
It originally came out on the Game Boy Advance SP. Which is one of my favorite consoles ever. That thing is sweet. If I was going to collect a console, it'd be either that or the Super.
Well, I can't even. I got to look it up real quick. SP, you said?
Yeah,
Game Boy
the
SP.
one that folded. It was the clamp.
Oh yeah. I remember that thing. Yeah. Game Boy Advance SP.
Yep.
I'm just picturing little 13-year-old Nick playing on a little Game Boy, eating some chips. All right. I have one more highlight from the State of Play.
Perfect.
And that is Silent Hill F. I thought that this showing of this game looked great. Silent Hill 2.
I was gonna say that you're inviting that question.
What question?
You weren't that high on Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, I wasn't, but. I mean, I also didn't hate it. I just was like, okay. And there's, I think, part of that because I already knew what the story was. But, when they were showing off Silent Hill 2 in the lead up to it, it had a pretty rough marketing campaign.
That's true.
You know,
that
and
is
people
true.
did
That is a
not
good point.
people did not really dig what they were doing, and it wasn't until a game actually came out that they were like, "Oh shit, Bloober did it. Good job, buddy."
Right.
And this one, knowing that gives me a ton of confidence going into this. Now, I should have known this. Is this Bloober or is this Konami?
This is not Bloober because they have their game is coming this year too, Chronos.
Which is Chronos. Okay.
Yeah.
So back to Konami, but I would imagine this is specifically done by Neobards Entertainment. But the way that the animations of the enemies looked, right, we're taking it back to 1960s Japan, which I think is first and foremost a cool setting for a horror game. The Japanese have a very weird way of doing horror, and so it'll be cool to see that setting with this type of protagonist. And you could tell that like the way that the enemies were animated very much plays homage to like a game like Silent Hill 2, where instead of like mannequins, they're kind of more Japanese mannequins. I don't really know how to explain it, but that same like twitchy level of behavior that's really unsettling. And again, I think the setting is going to do a lot of the lifting here, but I thought it looked great and it very melee focused, which was kind of interesting. But I will admit that was part of what I didn't like about Silent Hill. I did not like the shooting. I did not want to shoot anything.
Well, the melee wasn't great either, though.
Yeah,
but I think that's intentional in these scenarios.
Right, you're not meant to be
because
powerful.
it builds tension. Because you're not. Yeah, it's not the power fantasy. It's you're supposed to be weak and feeble against these monstrosities.
Yeah, there's a little. I don't know. I'm gonna guess 19-year-old Japanese girl probably shouldn't be taking down monsters. But yeah, I dig the like the kind of floral aesthetic that's going on, and September 25th. I think it's a good date for it, and he doesn't have to worry about obviously Grand Theft Auto, and I think it'll be good.
Okay, all right. Well, then we can move into our lowlights now, and I'll start because this game, if you would have asked me right after the show, was going to be a highlight.
I think it's
But then after what we learned what this game is now a low light.
Sea of Remnants.
Sea of Remnants from NetEase Games, the makers of Marvel Rivals. And this is called Joker Studio. Coming next year. Great presentation, great art style. You're this mannequin-like art style. You go on pirate adventures. There's turn-based battles alongside real-time pirate ship battles. You're upgrading your ship. You're doing all these cool ideas. You're building your crew, and you're like, wow, Nick, where is this going to go wrong? And that's when you find out that it is a free-to-play game that's also going to be on mobile, and it's going to have gacha mechanics, and fuck all that noise. Mm-hmm. You are just not on my radar anymore. See ya.
Yep.
I'm done.
Yep. I mean, the way they describe it is just, it's like, an infinite game of life and death or something. It's like, I don't want the word infinite in any of my games. I am sorry. So, yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I love I like the way that the characters look with like the wooden features and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not gonna get any of my attention or time, unfortunately. But yes, that was also a low light for me. Another low light that I had of the show is get the fuck out of here with state of play trailers. I don't need a Ghost of Yotei. Here's the state of play.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
It just makes me mad, man. When you see the PlayStation Studios logo, that is a big deal in these things.
Right.
And when you're, I was already upset that it was like, I don't need another Ghost of Yotei trailer, and then for it just to be like, hey guys, we're gonna have a specific one of these. It's like, God, I don't know. I really wonder about marketers, man. Is there really somebody who still needs to be sold on it? We need to have 20 minutes of deep dive?
There is a thing of, the game showing up too much. Animusha Way of the Sword is another game that was just announced at the Game Awards and has shown up at every press conference, and it's coming out next year. It doesn't even have a release date. Why do we have to see it at every event? Why do we have to see it at Summer Game Fest or the Capcom event a few months ago, and then and the Game Awards? It's like let it breathe and focus on other games. It doesn't need to show up all the time.
And maybe it's us. Maybe we're because we're the weirdos that watch every single one of these things.
Right.
That they're like, we don't expect most people to do that. But I would also argue that I think if you are the type of person that tunes into Summer Game Fest, you probably are watching all of these, or at least a lot of these. So. That was just kind of annoying. It's not the end of the world. That game's still going to be great, but get out of here with that shit.
Yeah, and I do, and I guess the only one thing in the previous trailers as well is that there's definitely some kind of way. This is going to be our Torgal, right? Like you're going to be commanding wolves in this in some way to do attacks or distractions or something, and that'll definitely spice up the game in an interesting way.
Nobody better kill my Torgal. I'll tell you that.
No. So, all right. Yeah, and then a low light for me, it was our first look at 007 First Light from IO Interactive. We knew that they had the James Bond license. We knew it was going to show up this week because they put out that image, but there's just something about the trailer, and the thing that I kind of think internally is this seems like IO Interactive punching up higher than they normally can. Like I know that they're going to be able to put James Bond in a scenario, in a casino, a cool location, and have multiple ways to figure it out. That's their bread and butter. That's Hitman 101. But what I don't think they can make is the Uncharted level
third-person shooter.
Yeah, the Last of Us, the Naughty Dog way of making a very cinematic, adventure-like game, and that's all those scenes in this trailer just feel off to me.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel right. The driving sections, the more action heavy set pieces.
I'm wondering if this game is going to be very much kind of like how Indiana Jones was.
True.
Where it's
also,
like,
good
none of us were excited to play that, and then it came out and it got great reviews. But nobody's out here saying that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a great gameplay fun game to play. It's like, yeah, it's cool. You're Indiana Jones. It's funny. He's the same character. You know, you're doing these scenarios that you could see play out in an Indiana Jones movie, but by no reason is the reason to play this like because you want to have a fun game. You know, I think this will feel very stiff. But I do think like the game probably will thrive in immersion and sandbox nature and things like that. You know, so we'll see. I mean, you know, IO's got a big task at hand. It's a big IP. And I do want to say I also hate the way that Bond looks. It's just maybe that's a me thing, but he's so generic in so many ways. Like,
right.
You know, whether he's just, you know, Tom Holland Uncharted looking guy or Jack Reacher looking spy guy. It's just, I don't know, and there's no point he's got a tux in the trailer. I got to see him wearing a tux or at least, you know, straighten his bow tie out or something. So I know it's a prequel. I know that he's not at that level yet, but
right.
You know, I think it'll have a specific audience, but this probably will not be the podcast to get your impressions on it.
And when we say highlights and lowlights, it's like our look at these games is the reason. The game might come out and be very good. It's just not the best showing of it. So, yeah. I mean, that's all my lowlights. So
we're good. Let's go.
All right. I did want to address where's the 2D God of War, John?
I don't know. This is what I mean. I feel like we could make a separate topic for like, you know, the
games that weren't here.
Well, yes, but the cost of leakers and spoilers, right? Like the amount of like things that come out that we see a rumor about or a specific, you know, Billy Bill Coon or Nate the Hate or you know, Tom Henderson and all those guys. Like we've gotten to this point where we see that and we're like, oh, it's a thing now. Right. And then when it's not there immediately, then we go, well, what the fuck are we talking about? And then like it turns into this disappointment. So I think it's still very much a thing. It was
it's a thing.
It was corroborated by big players. They just didn't get the timing of it right. So I'm not worried that it's not going to come out. It's just I do kind of lament. Maybe that's another reason I like the E3 stuff. Everything felt genuinely surprising. Right. I remember going on Reddit after like when I'm stuck at Avis Car Rental, renting cars or whatever the fuck I had to do, and like just scrolling through and be like, whoa.
And it's funny you mentioned that because I had to unsubscribe from all my gaming subreddits because I was getting annoyed because they spoiled, you know, obviously Resident Evil 9 gets spoiled. The Plague Tale game that we'll talk about in the Xbox Game Showcase was spoiled because they just posted willy-nilly, and it's like the event's about to happen. Like why do we need to know
social clout.
Week of? Yeah.
Social clout.
I know.
Yeah. So no, it's gonna come. I just you know,
and
in due time.
And then this showcase kind of previews the rest of this year and a little bit of next year as well. But I mean, are you satisfied with PlayStation's output for this year? Because I mean, it is now just Death Stranding and Ghost of Yote.
Yeah, on a personal level, no. I don't care about Death Stranding at all. So, effectively, it's just one game for me. But I do think like one of these, Sony, Microsoft. I think 3 big games is kind of like a great cadence. So if they're at 2 and Death Stranding might not be for me, but that's going to probably be Claire's biggest competitor for Game of the Year, would be my guess. And so it's going to be huge. Ghost of Yote is going to be great. And there's tons of other shit to play, right? Like I can't sit here in good faith and just be like, I'm mad at Sony or I'm mad at anybody in particular when I can just continue to play, these Ninja Gaiden Rage Bounds and things like that to tide me over. And again, specifically for me, I don't want any more than 2.
Right.
2 big AAA 3D open world whatever kind of games, like that's. You give me more than that, then I start to get into like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth territory, where it's going to sit in my backlog for a year. It's going to hang over me like a dark cloud, and then I'm going to hate play it. Just because I got to get through it.
Well, it's not saying it has to be those type of games. I'm just saying the overall output being what it is.
Dude, I have an overall low light that we'll get into. That's simply it's just too many games. So like I'm good. I'm good with it. Like I'm honestly good with it.
Okay, well that's a good lead into Summer Game Fest, because Keeley first thing went on stage and said 18,000 games were released on Steam last year.
Yeah,
so
garbage.
Falling right into
Stupid.
Your thing is like, and again going back to all these showcases, is that there's so many games and it's hard to keep heads or tail of what is what. And like I said, when I see an interesting game and it's coming out next year, I just have to push it out of my brain, because it's joining because next year is just looking to be the most insane year of video games ever, as we'll get into more games coming out next year, and Grand Theft Auto, and Xbox is supposedly having a bunch of big games next year, and Sony's going to have a bunch of big games next year. It's like, fuck, man.
It's too much.
It's too fucking much. And you didn't watch this showcase, but that was kind of like just the same thing. It was just like game after game after game, and it's just hard to keep track of them all, hard to remember them all. So many people are making games now, and I know exposure is a big problem for video games right now. Getting games not wish listed so they show up in Steam more and all that stuff is a big problem. As a podcaster, it's a big problem. There's so many podcasts that John and I's the biggest problem is just people discovering us, and it's the same thing with these games. And
yeah.
So he had a very similar, like the State of Play, like just a mediocre show, and there are decent games there, but then just ended on the banger of all bangers, announcements. And so
yeah, I mean, and maybe that is because I find myself struggling with it too. Maybe that's why people don't find a showcase satisfying unless if it's a sequel to something they already know, because when you see announcement of Stranger Than Heaven, right? Maybe that's cool. This is a game that got announced from Ryuga Gotoku. It's not in my highlights or lowlights, but like maybe that game's cool, but I don't know, and so I can't sit here and be like, oh, I'm so excited for that. It's like it'll come out and I'll play it whenever I can. Yeah, it's a problem, man. Like I personally think about it. I'd love to maybe almost even go back and spend some time looking through previous showcases, like from a couple years back, that has games that have released now, and be like, how many of these actually did pan out? How many of these were worth getting excited about? Right. And how many of these were just, because even think about games like, I kind of always think of the Black Myth Wukongs and the Wulong Fallen Dynasties, or that Wu Chang Fallen Feathers game that's coming out. Right. It's like, they all come out, they're all okay, and that's just not enough anymore.
Right.
So it's kind of a bummer, because then the real world consequence of that all is people lose jobs, studios get shut down, and it's just like it's not a good sustainable system. Yeah. Fair
enough. But let's get into the highlights. Since you mentioned it, I do think Stranger Than Heaven is a highlight for me. Just because the studio, Ryuga Gotoku, the makers of Like a Dragon and the Yakuza series, you can trust them. But also this game just looks interesting. The first time we saw this game, I think, was a State of Play, and it was 1915, and now it's 1943 Japan, and so there's some kind of I don't know if you're you play as an immortal character and you're just going through different time periods. But also just the gameplay elements looked more refined. You're given like choice options to brutally stab somebody with a machete. But yeah, the combat looks better. Like your character gets like confronted, and all the crowd of people just scatter, and run away, and your character reacts as they're running into you. I'm just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean I understand it. I don't like mobster gangster type stories. Like I don't want the guy in the trench coat with the big fedora hat on.
But there might be more to this than that.
Maybe
because we're jumping time periods all the time.
Maybe, and so it's something to keep an eye on. But like just the vibe was this had like jazz music kind of in the trailer. Like I don't like that vibe. I just the noir gangster 1920s Chicago type thing. Even though it's in Japan, not for me.
All right, fine.
Sorry. All right, we're talking about Xbox, right? Nope, Summer Games Fest. Okay. I'm going to go with one that I know is not on your list, but it definitely caught my eye. I thought the trailer was pretty wild, but that's a game from Mundfish, not Atomic Heart 2, but Ill. Or as Nick and I call it, the Naked Man Simulator. This looks like a wet, gross, claustrophobic horror game, where you're kind of in just, you're going to feel uncomfortable the entire time. But I was really impressed with the enemies, just specifically in a sense of like, I hate every single time they're on screen.
Right.
I don't want to deal with these people, and that's the perfect type of enemy in a game like this. I'm a little apprehensive of it. I think that Mundfish is a studio to be skeptical of. Atomic Heart was good, not great, but the first trailer that game showed, people were real excited for it, and it looked amazing.
Do you remember it was one of your most anticipated games
of
that year?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like I think they do that well. And the reason I have it highlighted is they followed up with an actual gameplay trailer of it a couple days later, where it's not a big section of it. You're still just kind of, grabbing a wrench and then grabbing a gun and shooting a dude in the head, like pretty standard stuff. But I'm got my eye on it. If Mundfish can take the leap, if they can figure some stuff out, I think it could be at the very least a scary game to play in October. It doesn't look like it's probably going to be very long. It'd probably maybe be like a 6-hour experience if I'm guessing.
Mundfish is an interesting one because they came out of this week with 3 different games: Ill, Atomic Heart 2, and then The Cube, which is a first-person MMO game.
Isn't Atomic Heart 2 The Cube? Isn't that the same thing?
No, they're 2 different games.
Oh, well, I missed a trailer because that's all right.
No, The Cube is an MMO coming from them.
Okay.
But it's set in the Atomic Heart universe.
Gotcha.
And Atomic Heart 2 is obviously a single-player sequel to
Just
Atomic
mute
Heart
my
1.
computer real quick. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So they're very busy. But yeah, I'm with you. I think they're on the cusp of something. I think right. They're very interesting studio, and their games are very eye-catching. At least their trailers always are. So
they have a great trailer team.
Yeah. So if they can just make a game that, because Atomic Heart was 70s, 78, 79 game. And I know Pal, the show Jesse, this was his highlight of the show, was Atomic Heart 2 of this week of things. So
yeah, man,
it's doing something.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm not gonna say they're deceptive, but like even watching this and like the android skeleton looking dude like wakeboarding off of a skyscraper. Now we're in the trenches and we're shooting people up, and the graphics look amazing, and it looks so good. But then Atomic Heart 1 came out, and I think it was like a 74, and it just kind of came out like a fart. So yeah, this looks so cool.
Yeah, so they're very busy. So no, I'm just gonna look up what Atomic Heart is. Yeah, 74. Yeah. So.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. What the fuck was that? You just like threw something around a big hulking Attack on Titan dude running at you and then stabbed him with a big syringe. Like, it's just so wild. It looks like a wild ass game.
Yeah. All right. One of the highlights for me out of Summer Game Fest was Out of Words from Wired Fly. This is a claymation co-op 2D game, kind of like in the same vein of like, it looks kind of like inside or something like that, but it's co-op. Just a great art style, interesting idea. Hazelight is kind of pushing these co-op games forward, and so it's cool that another game is going to be kind of in that same similar co-op work together thing.
Yeah, I mean it's only a matter of time before we start getting a lot of It Takes Two Split Fiction clones.
Yeah, I didn't bring it, but there was that Lego game announced, Lego Voyage.
Yeah,
which is doing the friend pass thing and everything
good.
else. So
Smart.
Yeah, you're right. It is spreading.
smart. All right. Well, my only other highlight
Let's do it.
is
Let's do it.
Not Resident Evil Requiem or Resident Evil 9. But what's there to say, Nick? I mean,
The way they revealed this sucked while you were watching it.
that's what I
Because they had the creative director come out earlier in Summer Game Fest and say like, "Oh, we got nothing to show yet, but don't blink, it'll be here." And it also had the actress who played Lady D from Resident Evil 8 in it as well.
Oh, yeah?
And so everyone was like, "Oh my God, here we go!" And then it was a fake out, and I mean, obviously it all works out because the actual trailer came at the very end of the show, but during it was frustrating.
yeah, assholes. But yeah, I mean, we don't have a ton to go off of right now, but there's a couple obviously huge things to discuss, which is that we're back in Raccoon City.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal. Obviously it's been fucking bombed to shit.
Yeah, that was an awesome moment when because it didn't even register to me because they show like the crater.
Yeah, same.
And then
it wasn't until I saw the police station.
Yeah, the police station. And then you're like, oh shit, I'm in that city, and it's like such a wildly fun idea to go with.
Yeah. Yeah, but we'll be playing as Grace Ashcroft.
Yes.
Who's definitely she is not a Chris Redfield. She seems very much out of her element.
Yeah.
But
she's an FBI agent. That she is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, who was in Resident Evil Outbreak.
Yeah.
The multiplayer game that took place during the same Resident Evil 2 timeline.
Yeah, they had that line where it's like, your mom died 8 years ago, you got to let it go. She's definitely a villain or something in this game. We got to. So she's not. She's around.
So yeah, a lot of people are discussing like, is there some kind of fake out here? Because we've talked the leaks before, and it's going to be Leon and Jill was the rumor.
Yeah.
But press got to play the game, and you do play as Grace Ashcroft. It'll be interesting. Are we going to get a little Kojima'd here?
Maybe. I hope so. I mean, well, they fucking faked us out with the trailer, so why wouldn't they? But yeah, I mean, I think the most exciting thing about this, and I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit because I've been shouting this from the rooftops ever since. We've been kind of getting these different types of Resident Evil games, but confirmed as of today, first and third person.
Yep.
So you can do whichever one you want, which makes sense to me. Obviously they figured out third person a long time ago, but had such success with 7 and 8 in first. And I'm not going to be shocked when they go, yeah, there's also a VR mode for this too.
Right. Yep.
So I think it's really cool that they can do that. Apparently you can switch on the fly, which is both awesome, but I kind of almost wish that there was like you had to pick one for the whole playthrough. I get why you wouldn't.
It is a menu option. It's not like you can just click a button.
Right. But it's just going to cause me to go like, should I watch this one in first or third? Like the whole time. It's like I almost would rather be like tied down to a decision, and then like if I want to replay the game and kind of experience it in a different way, I could.
You're the guy that played Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8. Are you going to move to first? Because I'm third person all day, every day for me. So
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I think first person is so good in horror if it's done well, and I trust Capcom. It is just, but like if it does both, I don't know. Like, is the first person going to be as immersive and scary as it would be otherwise? But I would say my instinct is to start first,
okay,
and then see if it vibes with me. Says the guy who hates first person shooters. Yeah, man. I mean,
it got a date too, which is even wilder. It's coming February 27th next year. That's. I mean, it's gonna be here before you know it. It's the next numbered Resident Evil game. Just
when's the last time Resident Evil hasn't released in like that early winter part? Like I feel like 7 did, 8
It
did.
just seems to be they kind of like that
good.
spot.
It's a good spot
because they gave it to Monster Hunter Wilds this year, Dragon's Dogma the year before.
Yeah, get out early and just ahead of everybody.
Yeah,
Be ready. And
so
what else is to say about it? Anything? The press said that it's absolutely terrifying, which of course they're going to say that. They're not going to be like, yeah, it's not that scary.
Yeah,
but
no,
I liked. I will say I liked when the trailer cut to her in a dire situation. It gave me much more like serial killer, Texas Chainsaw, villains that have a nefarious purpose type vibes, as opposed to like mindless zombie / the creatures of Seven, which what were they called? The black muck guy, the mold. The mold? I don't know. But it gives me more like, oh, there's some really sinister shit at play, kind of like a RE4 type thing. Even though I'm sure there's always sinister shit at play, but it felt personal. Which is cool.
And I guess the other things to talk about is that we theorize that it might be open world, and that's very well may could be, but it sounds like the area the press played took place in a hotel. And also, when this game got announced, because this character is tied to the multiplayer Resident Evil game, like her mom was part of that game, I thought, well, that's kind of an interesting choice. And are they going to have is that like a kind of connection? And this game will have some kind of multiplayer element, whether it be co-op or you play as multiple characters that work together, like you did in Outbreak. I thought maybe that might happen, but
yeah.
Sounds like no. This is just a Resident Evil through and through,
which I'm good with.
Yeah, no, that's great. All right,
cool.
Did you have any lowlights for this one?
Nah, it was hard to pick lowlights for. I don't know.
Yeah, I know you didn't watch it.
Yeah, without watching it, it's like when I see like kind of the recaps and stuff. It's like, all right, I'm not gonna watch something that obviously looks like it's Tamagotchi life. I'm just probably not gonna watch that trailer. But
well, I do have a general low light because I do want John to answer for this as I stare at his laptop with Bloodborne stickers on it. The Souls-like games, like there is so fucking many of them.
There's a lot,
and there were a lot at this show. Liza P. Overture, Mortal Shell 2, Code Vein 2, Chrono Odyssey. There were more at the Xbox showcase. I'm like, what the fuck? When's enough, you guys? How many of these games do you need? You got Night Rain already.
First off,
you got Neo 3.
Don't rope me into this. I'm a From Software guy through and through. I don't play the other ones, but
or Night Rain.
Yeah, or Night Rain. I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely hear you. But I would also argue that if you can lump all those together, because yes, they're Soulsborne, but they're also third-person action adventure games. They're just hard third-person action games, right? I am also equally tired of third-person over-the-shoulder shooting games, and there's a ton of those that you bring me where I kind of go, yeah, it looks like another one. Yeah, it's another one. Yep, it's like that Expanse game, right? Looks cool, but I've done this so many times.
Well,
so like
I didn't bring that to you because of the shooty parts, because it's claiming to be like another Mass Effect game
for sure. But that's kind of like every time I look at one of these, I just initially roll my eyes over because I think I don't look.
God, he just Uno reversed me.
I don't look deep in. Well, hold on. Let me get to my point. I'm not looking deep enough into it to notice what the differences are, and I think you do the same thing and a lot of people do with Soulsborne games, where you see the difficulty and the thing, and you just go, nope. And then we're not looking into what's different about it.
Well, yeah, sure, right, yeah. The subtle differences I will just not catch, right? But I do. It's not only like that; it's the aesthetic too. Mm-hmm. That it has to mirror the same. Like you could put it next to like Elden Ring, and I'd be like, these are the same game, because it's just aesthetically too, like the tentacles and the gothic horror vibes that the Souls and Bloodborne and Elden Ring kind of like tap into is, and we knew this was going to happen, right? Elden Ring sells 30 million copies. It's like, duh, everyone's going to try and imitate that success. But it's just like, Jesus Christ, man. It like, how do you pick one that's not have From Software publishing it or making it?
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting topic, and maybe something we should look internally within one another to figure out. Because like, I can easily tell the difference if you put all these next to each other, of like which one's which, and it's just because I think that's it. But I also,
It sounds like a challenge.
you know, what I told you earlier before we started recording. It's like I am so sick and tired of giant man in spacesuit outfit. Like that's kind of another thing. Even Pragmata, which I'm excited for, it's like, yeah, it's another dude in some over the top spacesuit, like and like those are also all starting to look together. Like I wish I could pull titles off my head more, but like I feel like I've seen every showcase for the past 7 years has like 3 or 4 sci-fi oriented spacesuit third person shooting nefarious organization thing going on, and like I can't ever tell the difference between them, when it comes to that. So,
and the same thing, right?
Yeah.
They played Mass Effect. They're like, I want to make that game for me.
Yeah, and that's
and here we are. But yeah, it's fine.
So it's I hear you. It's definitely a complaint that I hear on a lot of podcasts I listen to. Also, for people who are not into Soulsborne games, it is just like, can we find the next thing, please?
Right.
And in fairness, like, yeah, if it were up to me, yeah, just let FromSoft do it, guys. They do it the best.
I know. And it's a trend that I'm fine with, other than chasing like when everyone was chasing MMOs and live service games and all that. I'd rather have this trend of, okay, we all want to make single player action games. Okay, that's fine.
My favorites of the Soul genre, like when it comes to stepping outside of FromSoft, it's never the guys that are trying to be exactly like them, right? It's never the Surges or the Neos or Mortal Shells. It's always like Hollow Knight, Nine Souls, like these games that take these ideas and kind of use them, but give you a different gameplay experience. That's what I love about the Soulsborne genre. It's not the copycat clones; it's the people that use it as inspiration. And so,
like Expedition 33,
we'll find out. But yes, I'm sure. I'm sure we will.
All right,
Which you loved, by the way.
I did.
So
I did.
Watch yourself.
Well, that moves us into our final big showcase. Xbox. They last year, probably one of the best showings of all time. Here we are. Xbox obviously is not having as strong of a lineup post everything there, and there was a lot of stuff missing, which is kind of like one of my lowlights. Is like, where is Fable, Gears of War E-Day, Contraband, State of Decay 3, Perfect Dark, all these games you've showed
so many things announced
showed last year and are not here now, and we did get the ultimate of teases from Phil in one of our predictions that we made and didn't happen, was involving Halo Studios. We're 100% getting a Halo remaster next year of the first game. So John's year prediction of the Master Chief Collection is going to, I believe, not happen because they're just going to do what we're getting right now, the remasters.
They can still
all the
drop
individual
Infinite.
games.
You don't know shit, bro.
But yeah, Phil did tease that next year is going to be Fable, Gears of War E-Day, and then this Halo remaster. So that's pretty wild already for Xbox. That's going to be a big year of video games for them just alone. Mm-hmm. But let's get into it, John. What were some of the highlights here?
So I'm going to start with a weird one, just because it's both a highlight and a low light, but we'll get it out of the way. We got to talk about it. It's a highlight from the sense that I got to see Silk Song.
Oh, yeah,
I got to see it. It's still
boondoggle on the low light.
It's still real, but what a shitty way to talk about it. Where it was attached to the Xbox ROG Ally announcement, right? Xbox is doing their standalone. Kind of, they're doing it standalone handheld unit, partnering with Asus, which already has the ROG Ally, but just giving a lot of Xbox iconography and things to it.
Yeah.
But they said that,
as we predicted,
Hollow Knight Silk Song is launching alongside that thing later this year, which is just like, I just wonder if if Team Cherry has just a sick sense of humor. Like I don't know, maybe it's not up to them. Maybe I know they're doing their best, but if you're into this community, we've just been suffering.
Yeah,
we've been suffering.
This game has been predicted to come out the last 4 years.
Yeah, so it's just like I'm happy. They've doubled down. They've said they've since after this announcement been like, don't worry guys, it's before the holiday. I just don't understand the lack of communication and maybe they do have their hands tied, right? They're a team of 3. Maybe they're just like, okay, Microsoft's like, we'll give you some money to help you get along the cross line, but you can't talk shit about dates. We don't know when this thing's coming out, but we want you to be a part of the marketing beats. And they're just like, all right, we just need the money. So I hope I get to play Silksong this year.
Right.
I fucking better.
Yeah, and it's always been shown very, very weirdly too. Like you said, it was just weird that it was the game always on the screen when they were showing this handheld around. It was weirdly in that Nintendo Switch April 2nd event.
It's always like a
for
6-second clip. Like,
right.
What is this?
It's not like it's getting a big, 1 minute trailer of the game. It's always just like, it's very weird and it sucks.
In fairness, it would be kind of annoying if Team Chair is like, all right, we're taking the next month off of development so we can get this trailer ready for the. It's like, no, fuck that. So probably giving him too much crap, but highlighting low.
And I still feel like until it has an actual date, I'm holding my breath.
I know. Why you say these things? Yeah.
All right. Let's go with a cool announcement. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to Xbox. What a big win for them. That means obviously the rest of the games are going to be coming, the Rebirth and then the third final game. I'm sure they were happy, but
Sony waited until they were on their fucking deathbed. Now you can have it.
Yeah, that's true. But the big announcement on top of that was that Final Fantasy 16 is on Xbox now. Like it's just out. It's a game that you can play, and even just showing the trailer for it, John. I know we're gonna tell everyone if you're on an Xbox, like play this fucking game because it's so good. John and I both really really enjoyed it, and that the trailer which showed off a lot of the boss fights again. I'm just like. Yeah, that was a fucking amazing Final Fantasy game. Dude.
I feel like that game got done a little dirty in some ways where...
I wonder if it would have been better if it wasn't a Final Fantasy 16. If it was
maybe.
like...
Yeah, maybe.
If it was like a Final Fantasy... What was that Chaos one? Stranger in Paradise or whatever?
Good. Yeah, Stranger Than Paradise.
yeah.
Or
if
maybe,
it was like,
maybe in Paradise.
Yeah, Final Fantasy and then just a different... And it was billed as like a action spin-off to Final Fantasy as opposed to the turn-based roots.
I don't know if it would have done better, but I think one of the shittiest things about that game is the way that Square Enix was just like, yeah, it didn't meet expectations. It's
right,
like, dude. It launched on a single platform. It sold like 3 million copies in a week. It's like, what? Why? I hate that narrative. But and people weren't too high on it. I still don't quite understand why. Just the boss fights are some of the greatest boss fights I've ever seen in video games.
Right, and the combat's great.
Combat, Ben Starr, come on.
Performances are there.
That game gave us birth Ben Starr into the world for us. But yeah, big announcement for Xbox, and it would be a game that I could absolutely see myself going back to in a couple years and maybe be like, is it time to get that platinum where you have to run through it again?
Yeah.
Just to if anything, see those boss fights again, because I gotta admit, and this is a me problem, I don't remember much of the story really. I remember, I don't know. There's the world, and the world.
The story is okay, but it really is the boss fights.
Gameplay. It's good stuff.
So,
all right, that's a good one. Let's go with Ninja Gaiden 4, game we knew about. This is the other part of the year of Ninja Gaiden alongside Ragebound, but this is a sequel to the 3D version of Ninja Gaiden, which is the much larger, more popular sect of it, right? Ninja Gaiden Black, right? That came out on Xbox, right? Which would kind of jumped into the 3D sphere, hard as nails, super fast, a la Devil May Cry, things like that. But this just seems to have continued that path, but adding in some new things as well while maintaining the I couldn't believe how fast it was when I started watching it. Like I tried,
so good.
I tried to play. It was PS3. It was like Ninja Gaiden Sigma, I think, for PlayStation 3.
Yes.
And it was the first game I ever bought for my PS3. So like graphically, I was like, this is amazing. I love it. But I never beat it because it was just so hard, and I wasn't the gamer that I am now to continue just to continue to try and do this. But Yeah, it looks great. Adding in the fast combat, the ultra violent sword swiping stuff that we're used to, but also kind of looks like there's this added element of stealth to it.
There was definitely the Arkham vibes when he was like up on a ledge crawling around and he could go down for insta kills.
Yeah.
And then you could chain it to other enemies around it. I was like, that is right out of Arkham. And yeah, and then it's just aesthetic. It's cyberpunk aesthetic is phenomenal. It looks really, really good. I really hope they can nail this one.
Yeah. We didn't get an official date for it yet.
Yeah, it's October.
Oh, why does Google fail me? I said Ninja Gaiden 4 release date and just gives me a big 2025. All right, what's the date, Nick?
It's in October. I don't know.
Oh, no, so nothing specific? Just
no,
says
it does have a date.
Okay,
it's
hold on.
October.
October 21st. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
October 21st. Yeah. So that will be fun. But yeah, looks crazy. If you want to play it, make sure you're good at games.
Yeah. No, that game just continues the show very, very well and very, very bloody.
Year of the Ninja.
Yeah, good one. I have to talk about this one. Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy. If you listeners of the show know, I played A Plague Tale Innocence randomly because I think it was a free game on PlayStation Plus back in 2022 and loved it. I played A Plague Tale Requiem, the sequel that year.
Yeah, you got a pet rat. It's really weird.
Yeah. And thought that's still to this day one of the prettiest PlayStation games I've ever played. And it's kind of one of those like under the radar games. I know that game was nominated for Game of the Year that year, but I still think a lot of people are just
the first one was?
No, the second one, Requiem. It was 2022.
I'm sorry, I thought you were still talking about Innocence.
And it was awesome. I have the platinum in both games. That's how much I like it.
Yeah,
and I'm excited that they're telling another story in this same universe with the same kind of mechanics, a different time period.
It's like Roman, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and like I said, all those things in the next game, they're just going to continue to perfect that craft. And yeah, I'm all in for what.
I really like the shot in the trailer where you're following that lit up rope or whatever, and it kind of zooms in. You see it's like draped over this crazy looking Minotaur thing. I'm like, oh, like I kind of, because I always assumed like these are a series that I would like to at some point set aside time for. Don't know if I ever will, but they always felt very grounded, right? And this one almost felt a little more fantastical or something. I don't know if there's something.
Yeah,
else going on.
it is a little more supernatural than the initial premise is.
Okay.
It's pretty neat. I'm so glad that they get to do another game, and here it is.
Sweet, man. All right. Next highlight from me. So give Nick some credit here, guys. He called the next game from Double Fine. That was a big one.
That's a prediction in the bank.
You little son of a bitch. But coming out on October 17th, Keeper.
I was also gonna say when I said I have no idea what the fuck it is.
Yeah. You wouldn't have guessed you're actually move around as a light tower?
Yeah, you're a walking lighthouse. No, not at all.
Yeah. But leave it to Double Fine to create something insanely wacky and crazy. But it looks like my style of game too. I don't quite know, I guess, like exactly what the moment to moment's gonna be. Is it what's the combat look like? But like you're I don't know. It's fantastical. It's weird. Kind of has some platforming vibes to it. But I'm in for whatever this is. Obviously, you kind of have this light fixture that you can shine on different things and probably change the environment in different ways and whatnot. But there's just something really charming and endearing about this little light tower, kind of like lumbering around all over the place, but has a little grossness to it too. In typical Double Fine fashion, if you played Psychonauts, it's just kind of a gross looking
right,
game.
yeah.
But not in a bad way.
Right.
So I expect some humor. But it's also very pretty. There's some shots of going through like a cavern and lighting up the walls and everything. It gets all colorful and cool looking. So, a lot more to figure out still. You got this little birdie dude that's helping you out. That game caught my eye for sure.
Yeah, and of the showcase, every game had a PS5 logo on it except this one. This is one of the few ones, and that kind of makes sense. I mean, Double Fine is not some big studio, so I'm assuming like.
Isn't it
Ninja
funny how that
Theory.
kind of flip flopped? I feel like back in the day we would have been like, yeah, maybe we'll get some like games from In Exile or
Right.
Double Fine.
Yeah, the smaller games.
Maybe we'll get some of that, but we're not getting any id games or Bethesda games.
Right.
And that's kind of
Yeah,
flipped,
yeah. I mean, eventually it will, I'm sure.
For
but,
sure.
But yeah, it's one of the few that's not going to be day and date on other platforms. But yeah, very neat.
They're keeping it.
I'm glad a prediction of mine
You didn't
came
laugh.
true.
Why didn't you laugh?
Why?
I just said I made a pun. They're keeping it for them. Make me re-explain my joke. Now everybody thinks I'm stupid.
Sorry, I was busy focusing on John's incorrect prediction about Persona 6 getting announced when all the rumors were pointing heavily that Persona 4 is going to happen.
I take it back. Tides of Tomorrow looks shitty.
That we're getting Persona 4 Revival. Looks like they're, unlike Reload, Persona 3 Reload, we're getting a true kind of just remake of Persona 4. And we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, this was Persona 5 launched the series into the stratosphere, but like the people love Persona 4.
Yeah.
They love it. I think still some people's favorites. The vibes are a little bit different. I tried to play this on the PSP back in the day. I think I probably got about 10 hours in, and then it's what always happens with Persona stuff where I start to get overwhelmed and like I don't know what these dates are. I'm getting nervous, and then I just don't do it.
Yeah.
But any interest from you? I mean, you're a weird Persona guy. It was your game of the year.
Yeah. There's always interest. I do want to eventually play Metaphor ReFantasio as well in their games. It's just I think I just need to be in the right mindset and have the right open schedule to tackle another, because Persona 5 was a 120-hour game. Like
these are not wedgeable games.
No.
You don't wedge these in.
So yeah, it's got to find the right time in my life and schedule to tackle it. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. Like you said, it is the game that Persona fans point to as being the best.
They love it.
So,
all right, you got any other highlights?
Yeah, I do. You're done?
Yep.
Oh, you didn't want to talk? I thought you would for sure have this one at Fate's End.
Oh, yeah. Remains to be seen.
Okay. Well, like I said, it doesn't. This topic doesn't necessarily mean that you have to kiss it.
Come here.
This is the next game from Thunder Lotus, the makers of Spiritfarer, a game I've talked about in this show that I love very, very much. Yeah, it's in their art style. It looks to be a 2D action game, which is John's jam, but some kind of looks to be either a card mechanic or a move mechanic where you pause time and you can activate things to do cooler things on the screen. It just looks interesting. What the actual game is, we'll know, but it looks very cinematic. It looks very good.
Yeah. I think that this game is probably going to be great. It gives me a little apprehension. Just Spiritfarer was fantastic, but I think the main point of that game was they made that game to tell a specific emotion narrative first and foremost, and they just happen to have a really, really fun simulation behind it where you're managing this boat. And I worry that maybe the combat's cool, but I'm looking at a screenshot where you're fighting, and then all of a sudden you can choose you betrayed me, or you're acting like mom, or you can't reach her, and it's like, all right, so are we here? I don't know. I don't know if it's specifically going to be for me, because you're fighting your sister and you're kind of battling people that you love. There's definitely going to be some emotional strings to pull on here. And if I want to fight some things, I want to fight some things. But Neva was great. I loved that last year, so maybe it's that same kind of vibe. But yeah, I probably should have had this one on my highlights.
Yeah, just keep an eye out for.
Yeah, it's an action adventure game where you fight the ones you love, and your skill tree is your family tree. Interesting idea.
Yeah.
Is that your last highlight?
No, I have one more.
Okay.
Clockwork Revolution, a game that was not on my radar before. This is from In Exile. Kind of got this lengthy fucking trailer
5 minutes.
that you would have thought this game's coming out next month. That's how much we saw of the game, but it just showed really, really well. It has some BioShock vibes to it. There's this time rewind mechanic. It's a first-person shooter, and you can use time to, shoot bullets into a guy and then use reverse time to pull the bullets out of him in a violent fashion. And this leads to platforming mechanics and other things. And then it looks like your choices in this story change the entire world around you. You could have like a really dark future or a very bright future. But yeah, it's just, it has this sense of humor to it that seems fun. Obviously, again, this is a highlight now. The game might be bad when it finally comes out, but I just thought it was a good showing of what this game is and the mechanics behind it. And hopefully, yeah, it's a good game.
It does seem like In Exile is a studio on the rise. I mean, Wasteland 3 came in at an 86. So, if they've taken what they've learned there and apply it to that, yeah, we might be looking at something cool. I think that the trailer definitely got me much more excited when the shooting ramped up.
Yeah.
It's I'm so sick and tired of saying how much gameplay matters to me on this podcast, but like I was a little worried in the first half of that trailer because I was like, okay, what is this though? And then as soon as you start being able to build your own guns and the shooting seemed like it seemed like it was a good feel. I don't know why I can just tell sometimes.
It kind of gave me like Dishonored vibes. Is how this is kind of the from the aesthetic and the impactful choices and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I gotta ask, what the fuck's up with that bad guy's facial hair? Like, what is that? That's an interesting design choice, but
they really want you to hate him.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, we can move on to lowlights. Do you have any?
I do. Ending on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I am not here to tell you that Call of Duty is not one of the largest franchises in the world, that it won't sell some of the most copies possible, but it is a boring way to end a
really?
show.
Black Ops 7 is a boring choice?
I know, and they're probably sitting here like, it looks like futuristic and spacey and stuff. But it's like, I just don't care anymore, man. It's going to come out. It's going to have its multiplayer suite. It's going to have zombies, and the campaign's going to be whatever. And so it's not why I watch these shows. I'm not surprised that another Black Ops is coming out eventually.
Right.
So thumbs down on Call of Duty. That's a great show opener type trailer, but I don't. Not especially when you have so many games that you guys haven't talked about in a while, or not haven't talked about in a while, but we need some updates on.
Yeah.
Fable would have slid in nicely there, unless if it's something's up with it. So
right.
Didn't like that.
No, not at all. And yeah, speaking of Call of Duty, I predicted on this show that I thought it would be Xbox's first $80 game. It's not. It's that award, in quotes, is going to Outer Worlds 2, which is kind of unfortunate.
Not a great one.
That is the one to do it. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you're on Xbox and Game Pass, but for us PlayStation gamers, you don't want to have to turn the side eye to a game or have that be part of the narrative or the story behind this game. They want to say how much better this is than the previous Outer Worlds and all the changes they made since that game. But now the stories are all going to be that it's $80.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
womp womp.
That's on my list too. This one kind of, I was filling out my lowlights, and the more I thought about it, I was kind of surprised I put this on here, but then I watched the trailer again, and I think I back it up. But Invincible Versus. I want to talk about Invincible Versus for a second.
Okay, yeah.
Seems like a cool idea, good fighting game with this new franchise that people like.
And probably felt terrible after that state of play.
I have bad look after Tokon. Like, it's just, and it's not even comparing Invincible versus Marvel, which we can easily do that. But just the animations seemed so simplistic, right? Every single time they showed some fighting, it was just like uppercut into the air, punch, kick, go. And like, when you're comparing that to the animation work that Arc System's doing with, and I mentioned like, Star-Lord's like tornado of fire thing that he shoots out, it's just like, it's not even a comparison. So not a great timing for that team to launch it. But I also did want to talk about the roster also, right? Like, fighting games live and die on the characters, and I will admit that people didn't know who Jax was before they played Mortal Kombat or who Zangief was before they played Street Fighter. But for an established IP, like, are people really like name how many Invincible characters can you name, Nick?
Oh, I mean, there is a lot of characters.
There is, but I don't think anybody's going to want to fight as
Rexplosion?
Rex. I mean, maybe they do. But for me, it's just like you got Invincible, you got his dad, you got the pink chick, you got Robot, and you know
the twins. You got yeah. I mean, you're behind. You only saw the first season.
I don't know.
A lot more characters are in it now.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, comparing it to Tokon, where it's just like they're gonna have the deepest roster possible for an infinity and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, they do have some things going for them. Obviously, the popularity of the show. It sounds like all the voice actors are voicing their characters, and that they'll have the Invincible is incredibly violent, and this trailer showed that as well. So it does have some things to differentiate itself. But yeah, as a fighting game, showed after Tokon, and just as a fighting game in general in this world of Mortal Kombat and everything else, it did not look that great.
Yeah, I think
the art style is a little.
I don't think that one will have a very long life.
No. Okay.
No other lowlights?
No, I mean, other than, like I said, a bunch of games missing in MIA that Xbox has announced some years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Like, is State of Decay 3 ever going to come out? Are we even going to see what Contraband is?
No.
So, and so.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have any other lowlights either.
Okay. How do you feel about Xbox's year?
About their year? Like
and the rest of the year? I mean, they'll have Outer Worlds 2, they'll have Ninja Gaiden 4.
Gears remastered.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Ninja Gaiden 4 looks awesome, but I don't know. Yeah, it's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I weirdly still think, even though Xbox has said so many games come out this year,
they won't have a
Game of the Year nominee.
No. I mean, yeah, Doom is their only hope if it can sneak in there. But
Ninja Gaiden 4 could be really good, but is Team Ninja Tecmo up there when in the year where you're gonna have to compete with Expedition and probably Death Stranding, probably Ghost. If Hollow Knight comes out, that's gonna be
that's the indie slot.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be a Game of the Year nominee too.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying there's always a one indie that slides into the Game of the Year. Balatro or Hades.
But I mean, for Game Pass, I mean, this is as healthy as can be.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess my overall takeaway is that, as I continue to get older, I'm just learning that the amount of games is overwhelming. When they're big budget games, it almost is a turnoff for me now. Like, I get so much more excited seeing Ragebounds and Hollow Knights, and with Hades 2 was there, or that kind of stuff. And if it's not that, I really don't want a new IP. It's like the only one's like a big 3D game for me, like, almost has to be a sequel, and it feels bad to say that, and it's like writes off a ton of games. It is
what it is. I mean, like, I play a lot of games, and at the end of the year, I typically beat around 20 on average. So when you're talking 18,000 games got released last year on Steam alone, you're like, well, I played 0.01% of them.
Yeah, it's dumb.
And it's just what it is. I mean, as we get older, our tastes get refined. Our lifestyle dictates the kind of games we can get access to. Your lifestyle is very limited time. So, like, when you see a 9 Souls, you're like, hell yeah, this is perfect. I'm going to finish this game in about 10 hours. Love it. And then you see a Rebirth, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to spend 80 hours playing a game.
Here's my PlayStation wish list: Absalom, Ninja Gaiden, Shinobi, Pipistrello, Bionic Bay, Cocoon, Animal Well, Spiritfall, Blueprints, Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my wish list.
So yeah, I think that's normal.
Yeah,
I think. It's overwhelming, but again, I think the point of these showcases is to come away and go, there's about one to 3 games that I'm interested in or keeping an eye on, and then that is what it is. All right, so that's it. We're done. E3 not E3 is technically over, But that won't stop Konami from having a showcase. They're having a showcase tomorrow as we're recording. So maybe by the time you listen to this, you'll have seen it. We'll see more of that Silent Hill F that you're high on.
You'll get Delta.
More Delta, and probably Darwin's Paradox, an indie game that they're publishing.
Weird.
And they said some more games, so there might be something to talk about next week from that. But it will be a catch-up show. I mean, Jon has completed Doom and can review it. Mm-hmm. I've completed Expedition 33 and can review it.
Now I'm playing Expedition 33. Now Nick's playing Doom.
Yeah, so we can kind of have a little bit of a cross talk about those things. I completed Oblivion and liked it a lot, and now I'm questioning their future games. Well, how excited I should get, especially if a Starfield's coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't anywhere either.
And the Last of Us 2 television, or Last of Us Season 2 came and went, and Jon and I have some very strong thoughts on that, and would love to talk about that as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, well, and I mean, we'll talk about this, but also I might not be able to record the next 3 weeks. So we have to figure that out. I've got elected to be an all-star coach, which is just everyday nonsense. So yeah, we'll figure it out. Whether it's I got to do some at-home shit or I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Can't go
smaller, shorter shows I said, just check-ins is probably how we're gonna work it. But we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Make it work. So I'm excited. The future of video games is very bright.
Always is, buddy. It's only gets bigger.
Yeah, and as I always say, it's like I wonder when I'll finally break, right? I'm just done with video games. I don't get excited anymore.
It's when you play Sea of Remnants and go, this is it. Forever, my forever game.
Yeah, but the future is bright. I just think that this year isn't as bright as we thought it was going to be, but next year,
as you thought it was going to be.
Yeah. No, this year was your year. You said this year was going to be the big year. I was last year.
Lies. I don't believe you.
All right. But again, as always, please write in. We would love to read some emails. Let us know what you thought of these showcases.
Yeah, seriously. If you gave State of Play a D, I want to hear from you. I'm serious. I am serious.
Jon wants a fight.
Yeah.
But other than that, we'll be back next week with a normal show, normal 6 things. We love you. We thank you for listening. And we'll be back next week to talk. Bye.
Bye-bye.